Let me now pass the microphone to the orchestrator of the meeting that gathers us here, the one and the only President of the Organizing Committee of the European Cybersecurity Forum, CYBERSEC, Chair of the Kościuszko Institute, Ms. Izabela Albrycht, who will tell us what precisely the adversarial Internet is and why we should band together against it.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It depends where on this planet you are at the moment. And we have signals that thanks to the potential that the Internet gives us, our conference brings together participants from nearly all the time zones. As we all have noticed, the world has changed this year, but we are not going to let you down, and we will continue our already 6-year mission of bringing you the most important insights into cybersecurity, this year directly to your homes and offices. It is a great pleasure to welcome you to the first online edition of CyberSec Global 2020 and to welcome you virtually to Kraków, Poland. Ladies and gentlemen, the human history is marked with new innovations and new perils that follow. Every means to achieve the goals we set for ourselves and for our civilization, and which we have agreed to call technologies, has always had the other darker side. Along with strengthening our position on the earth, building the well-being of societies and giving us advantages, there has also been another way of using the technologies for adversarial and malicious purposes, which is mainly done by hostile states. And things are no different when we are considering digital technologies. They are disruptive in both positive and negative ways. They help us advance our position on the Earth, but also in outer space. At the same time, they become more and more powerful, which raises a question: how should we address the threat of being overpowered by some of them? The greatest invention of the last decades, the Internet, has completely transformed our lives. This supreme example of a set of complex digital technologies is now rapidly pushing us into the new, fully fledged digital world. In fact, we have already started to call it our new normal. The problem is that the Internet, as Paul Timmers, a good friend of CyberSec, put it, came with a design flaw. It lacked security by design, and it lacked privacy by design. And since we are now moving more and more critical functions to the online world, this original sin has to be addressed. Because the same Internet that empowers us, the technology we use to get together, to connect, and to build our future, can be exploited for a variety of shady purposes, ranging from just eavesdropping and spying, via stealing our money and our time, to the most dangerous theft of our identities and votes, to overpower law and order and suffocate democracy. This edition of the CyberSec Forum, following our theme, Together Against Adversarial Internet, brings a crucial conversation about cyber threats to our real world in just the right time. Over the years, we have observed that the Internet has become a mirror, which reflects many of the trends that impact the real world. Since there is such strong convergence, a fusion of digital technologies and physical realm, Together Against Adversarial Internet means, in fact, together against adversarial world. The arms race has now turned into the technology arms race. Value creation is using digital data. Information warfare has accelerated online and is threatening democracy and smothering the truth. The rise of illiberal nationalism corresponds with online autocratic and protectionist practices. The Internet has also been an immensely attractive venue for power projection. reflecting geopolitical and geoeconomic tensions. These are all examples of the adversarial use of the inventions we have created to advance our civilization. In the coming 3 days, CYBERSEC Global 2020 will be a platform for discussing the way forward in building the cybersecurity of our new digital reality. The previous edition of CYBERSEC started exactly on the day when the Internet celebrated its 50th birthday. Also exactly on that day, we launched the Secure Digital DNA Declaration, which we continue to enforce even among the COVID-19 pandemic. Together as CYBERSEC community, we need to make sure that 2020 is the year when consideration of security regarding the fast-forward digital transformation, accelerated further by COVID-19, become a key topic on the political and strategic agendas of organizations and countries. We should create a new digital world with responsibility, not only for the next 50 years, but also for our immediate future. As UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres put it, we need to turn the recovery from COVID-19 into a real opportunity to do things right for the future. And this is also relevant for keeping cyberspace ready to serve people and economy. This is what we understand as being cybersecure in the new digital era per se. We need to do whatever it takes not to let the internet and digital technologies become adversarial for us. Witnessing the geopolitical and geoeconomic turmoil associated with emerging and disruptive technologies, we are convinced, as never before, that this goal should guide like-minded countries and stakeholders in further digital transformations of their societies, economies, and defense systems. They should also lead by example, showing that a democratic approach and respect for human rights is absolutely necessary for further inclusive economic development. The year 2020 marks a milestone in this respect, as the digital agenda of the EU institutions aims to adopt a set of new regulations to serve as an example for the rest of the world. A subject Margaret Vestager will discuss comprehensively later today. NATO strategic decisions and actions will also be focused on design, deployment and implementation of emerging and disruptive technologies to keep NATO's technological edge and advantage over its strategic adversaries and rivals. In December 2019 in London, NATO leaders made a political decision and agreed to develop a common understanding and approach to emerging and disruptive technologies. The new NATO Innovation Board coordinates the innovation policy and encourages cooperation across the whole alliance. And by the end of this year, NATO will develop an emerging technology implementation strategy. The newly established advisory group on emerging and disruptive technologies will be a part of this process, and I'm proud to be one of 12 experts affiliated with the group, working together with Deputy Secretary General Mircea Geana. Mr. Geana recently said that the race is now on to dominate these new technologies. Countries that do not share our values, such as China and Russia, are investing heavily in these technologies to increase control over their citizens and exert influence in the world. And precisely this threat is a powerful reason for our Together Against Adversarial Internet edition. And we couldn't have a better first speaker.